My name is Rhonda, and I'm a recovering heroin addict. My clean date is February 1st, 2011. I started out using drugs, what I would say normally in high school, some smoking pot, drinking, taking some acid, taking a couple of pills here and there. Nothing that I really considered to be out of the ordinary from what everybody else was doing. Once I got out of high school, I was dating a guy that was a little older than me. He was of legal drinking age, so that made it easy for me to get in the bars. Started getting in the bars and just drinking. This quickly led to experimenting with other drugs. We started meddling around with cocaine. That quickly became a problem for both of us. I ended up in 2002 having 2 strokes from my cocaine use. It really debilitated me pretty bad, put me in Cleveland Clinic for a while. I was unable to walk and take care of myself. While I was in Cleveland Clinic, they prescribed me OxyContin for the pain that I was in, which I don't think I was in any pain. I was just not able to do anything. So anyways, the addict in me was like, okay, yeah. And by the time I left Cleveland Clinic, I was a clock watcher. I knew exactly when I'd be getting my next dose, and I was waiting for it. So I left Cleveland Clinic in late 2002, continued my prescription pain pill abuse for about 3 or 4 more years. To the point to where it got to be too hard to find them on the street. They were too costly. I was doing too much of them, and I just couldn't afford to keep up with my need. A boyfriend at the time introduced me to heroin. It would be a way for us to make money to be able to pay for the expensive pills that we were addicted to. In my head, that sounded like a great idea. Why wouldn't we do that? Started getting heroin to sell to other people, and then probably a week into it, I tried heroin and loved it. It was cheaper, same buzz for me. So that started a path of about 3 years of really intense heroin use. Because I've had my strokes, I'm on disability, so I don't work. I don't have kids. I am not married. At this point, I was estranged from all of my family because they didn't want anything to do with me. So I just lived the heroin life all day long, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. In 2009, I was going through some Social Security hearings with the Social Security Administration, and I had went into the federal building in downtown Cincinnati for a final hearing for Social Security, and I had heroin on me. That was a normal thing to me, to walk around every day, anywhere I went with heroin and probably a needle on me, because that's just what I did. Never crossed my mind not to take it in the federal building. They searched me, they found it, they arrested me. I caught a felony charge. I was very, very lucky that my charge was in Hamilton County in Cincinnati, because Hamilton County has a drug court, and I was eligible for that. I was a drug addict and never had a felony charge, and part of me wanted treatment. I said I wanted treatment. I didn't want to live the miserable life that I was living anymore. I didn't want to quit getting high, but I didn't want to live that miserable life. I wanted my family back in my life. I wanted to feel productive in my life, but I didn't want to quit getting high. So I was lucky. I went in the drug court program. I entered residential treatment, did very well in that, completed it in about 5 months, left residential treatment, knowing that I was going to continue to get high. I just felt like I had had 5 months of education on how to be a better heroin addict than the next heroin addict. So that was my intention. I left treatment, and I was just going to, fake it. Fake being sober and keep getting high and get away with it. That didn't last 2 months maybe. And I was back in front of the judge in drug court, and she put me back into residential treatment. And so I went in there this time like, well, this sucks because here I am doing this again and I can't get high, so something's got to give. So I just, I surrendered to the fact that I can't do drugs at all. I can't do alcohol at all. Even one little bit is going to take me down a path that I don't want to go down. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to be lonely and isolated, not have friends and not have family. So I made the choice to utilize the program for all that I could. I started being honest with myself, with my counselors, with my other peers that were in the program with me. And then after I completed that residential program in about 4 months, I went on to transitional living, which helped me be able to get out into the community while still being in a safe environment around people that were trying to stay sober like I was, giving me some structure and some stability, because in my active addiction, I didn't know what that was. I had no idea what structure and stability was. So transitional living gave me an opportunity to be able to experience that. I was able to stay there for about 4 or 5 months and then get into an apartment of my own. It was wonderful because I was mid-30s, and it was the first apartment I'd ever had by myself on my own without another boyfriend or husband or parents or anybody else. So I was hugely proud of that. I completed drug court, graduated from it successfully, and then relocated myself into Claremont County. Once I did that, I kind of had to develop another sober support system since my original sober support had been in Hamilton County. I started doing that through a group called Claremont County Solace. That gave me an opportunity to meet peers in recovery, to meet professionals in recovery, family members of people that are affected by addiction. And it started dwelling up a passion in me that I wanted to help people. I wanted to help somebody that was struggling with addiction. I wanted to help that family member understand why their loved one was struggling with addiction and didn't care to come home and take care of their kids. I just wanted to be there to help people. So I started volunteering and was very welcomed by my county to the point where they offered me a part-time position to help people in the community, help them deal with addiction. I have found that this is what I want to do the rest of my life. This is where my passion is. It helps me maintain my sobriety. It helps me instill hope in people that are still struggling. It helps me connect with family members and let them know that recovery is possible. Don't give up on your loved ones. Support them, but support them without enabling them. So doing what I do has not only been able to help the community in which I live in, but it hugely contributes to my own personal recovery and my growth in my recovery every day. When I left treatment the first time and then was out for 2 months, I was out actively using in a hotel. My mother knew what I was doing, and so she called the police on me and told them I was trying to hurt myself in an attempt to get me arrested and off of heroin. It worked, but it gave me a lot of resentment because at that time in my head, I felt like, how could your mom put you in jail? What kind of mom could do that to you? It took me 2 years to work through that and realize that it was really the best thing that anybody could have done for me was to make that phone call for me and do something for me that I couldn't do for myself at that time. So after I was able to deal with that and realized that that was the best thing for me, I made contacts with my mom and we started rebuilding our relationship. And so now 6.5 years in recovery, me and my mom are pretty much best friends. We talk every day, we do things together, confide in each other. She trusts me. I was able to step up and help my family. 3 years ago, my sister and brother-in-law struggle with heroin addiction as well. And so I helped them. I took custody of their 12-year-old daughter and began to raise her as my own in order to help them try to get into treatment and find their path to recovery. So I have taken that estranged relationship that I had with my family, and I've rebuilt myself with my family involved. It feels wonderful. It feels so good to be able to be a part of my family's life and have them look up to me, trust me, count on me, and respect me. It's a huge accomplishment. So even after I caught my charge and I know that I didn't want to live like that anymore, I didn't see any reason to not live like that. I had no hope for myself. I had no future to look forward to, no family that wanted me, no good friends to associate with. So I felt like, why would I give this life up? Because this is the life that I know and the life that I have and that welcomes me. Making that step to surrender and give my addiction over to a higher power that could help guide me was the best step I made, because that then gave me the hope and the empowerment to keep moving forward. Like it or not, being an active heroin addict is somewhat of a job. You struggle every day with feeling well, with your crazy thoughts, with how are you going to get high the next time you want to get high, who are you going to rob, who are you going to lie to. That takes a toll on a person. That's not easy to live that kind of a life. Being in recovery means waking up every day, being grateful that you woke up for that day, going to some meetings, calling people when you need to reach out to them, and working your program of recovery. It's not very easy to wake up every day and be grateful for the fact that you just woke up. So I like to say, pick the heart that you want to live. Do you want to live the heart of an active heroin user, or do you want to live the heart of somebody that's happy in recovery? It's your choice. It's your heart that you choose. I chose to pick the heart of recovery, and it's been the best reward of my life, because now I'm actually able to live my life.